This is the Hollywood Outsider, a weekly entertainment podcast where this week we're going to look at upcoming releases, including the new Bond flick Skyfall and Lincoln. We're going to have a spoiler-free review of Cloud Atlas. Our From the Outside In topic this week, Disney bought Lucasfilms, if you haven't heard. So we're going to talk about that and what does it mean and where does it go from here. As always, the latest in movie and TV news, our own trivia and flashback DVD segments, including those who got last week's What's This Movie Correct. My name is Aaron Peterson. With me today are my fellow host, Scott Clark.
Hey, what's going on?
Justin McCumber.
Ooh, TD.
And Brian Williams.
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
Oh, a lot. We've had a lot going on the last week, man. It's been pretty crazy.
It's been pretty busy.
We are a day late, by the way. So sorry for anybody that tried to download it and ended up crying on Thursday.
We're not dead.
Yeah, we're not dead. We're still doing it.
I'm sure our dozens of fans were very worried.
Dozens? Kiss my ass. We got more than that. We did have a Rocky Horror Picture Show screening this week. That went really well. Mm-hmm. We had a pretty good turnout. A lot of fun. We didn't find out if we could use props or not until the last minute, but that's okay. People seem to bring it with them anyway.
Yeah, I think it was going to happen.
I got pelted with a deck of cards and toilet paper.
I was standing right in front of the people throwing rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott felt like he was at a wedding. His own.
No.
Are you guys sad that you missed it?
Yeah, I'd like to have seen you dressed up as Dr. Frankenfurter.
There was
you did
somebody.
dress up as Dr. Frankenfurter, right?
No.
No.
Oh, dear God,
no.
I hope not.
Somebody else did, though.
Yeah, somebody did dress like Frankenfurter. They did a great job, actually. They did a great job. We gave them a T-shirt just from principle. Mm-hmm. We also got nominated, round of applause,
Yay!
for the Podcast Awards, the 8th Annual Podcast Awards for Best Movies Film.
Thanks to everybody that got us there, too. I know it took a lot of emails and Facebooks. And
we are a finalist.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That's very
Very
cool.
good, man. You're welcome. I do what I can.
That's the best part. I sent that out to everybody when we got the official nomination. All Justin said, "You're welcome."
I bring the fun.
Well, thanks to everybody that voted for us. That's a big deal. So we really appreciate it. And I think we're done blowing everybody for a while, right? We're good?
No, we got 15 more days.
Oh, no, you got lots of blowing to do.
Oh, that's right. We actually need you to still vote for us. So if you can go to podcastawards.com, up until November 15th, you can vote once a day. So if you go to Best Movies and Film, just pick Hollywood Outsider. I don't care if you vote for everything else, but pick Hollywood Outsider Movies and Film. And then if you like other podcasts, make sure to vote for them too. We appreciate it.
Thinking about going out there, aren't we?
What's that?
Right. You plan on going out there?
I plan on, yeah. I'm going to try to go out there. Yeah.
I'm trying to.
And Scott's going to try and go out there too. Yeah. Justin and Brian both told me no. So
I did not say no.
You said you're busy.
I do what?
You said you were busy.
Well, I'm always busy.
Well, you guys are all
It's
welcome
Vegas,
to come.
though.
Put it that way.
Pack my tux.
I'm bringing my tuxedo shirt. Let's start with movie news. Matthew Vaughn is out of X-Men Days of Future Past, and Bryan Singer, who started the franchise, is on the way back in. And also, and also related news, the Wolverine sequel is officially taking place after the events of X-Men: The Last Stand, which is kind of weird.
I don't know why you'd say it's weird.
Well, just because the first one was such a prequel, I'm actually shocked they're going so far forward with Wolverine.
Yeah, but considering that they probably won't be doing, an X-Men 4 or 5 or anything, I think that opens up room for doing these individual sorts of films. But as far as X-Men Second Class, as a coach is concerned, I'm glad to see Bryan Singer come back to it. X-Men 1 really shocked me with just how good it was. And I think it was the first comic book film since maybe even Superman, the first and second one, to really make me think that Hollywood could take a comic book and do a really good film out of it. And every friend that I told about went to go see it and pretty much came back with universal praise. And X-Men 2 was even better. So to have Bryan Singer come back and do this X-Men Days of Future Past movie is a good sign. I'm really sorry that his Superman Returns was so ill-received by so many. I loved it and wished he could have done more with it, but he is back to doing what he did so well, and I don't see how that could be a bad thing at all. But did any of you guys see the one sheet that they put up for the Wolverine?
Yeah, I saw it. It looks really good.
Oh, it looks nice. It's just almost like just a charcoal drawing, but it looks sharp. Very stark, very dramatic. I like it.
I can't wait. And they're going to Japan with the sequel. So that'll be interesting to see Wolverine in Japan.
Like in the actual story, or just that's where they're filming it?
No, well, I mean, same thing.
Well, anybody who's read the old Wolverine comic books knows why they're going to Japan.
That's
There's
why
a pretty big story there.
That's why I thought it would be more of a follow more in line closely with the prequel.
Yeah, but they've fucked up the comic book chronology so bad they could pretty much do whatever they want wherever they want at this point.
Am I the only one that's not happy about Bryan Singer?
I'm not happy about it.
Really?
But I'll let you explain why you're not happy.
A number of reasons. I could really probably go on for this way longer than we really need to, but I don't think Bryan Singer really cares about the source material. I think it's just he uses it, excuse me, just as maybe like an inspiration, and then he just kind of creates his own stuff, and whether it fits in the system or not, he doesn't really care. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the biggest draws. Now, this is coming from the perspective of a guy who grew up reading comic books and collecting comic books and stuff. So, as a kid and a young adult, you know, you crave and you just really want to see these characters up on the big screen. And now that you see them, maybe in a distorted way or a way that doesn't really live up to the comic books,
okay.
It's not, to me, it just doesn't live up to it. Plus the movies the X-Men are also, they're a very edgier group than a group, say, like the Fantastic Four or Avengers. And while they have to face so many different obstacles like acceptance and hatred, and much, you know, kind of like, I guess it's like maybe a metaphor or whatever for racism or whatever you want to call it. But it's just this group is just a darker and edgier group. And I think the only little piece of blood I've seen in these movies is when Wolverine in the second movie took a bullet to the head and it bled for a second, and then he woke back up and he was healed, and that was fine. Mm-hmm. There's no edge to these movies. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I enjoyed X-Men, really all three of them, but there's something missing. And I just think Singer has had plenty of time to do whatever he's wanted to do with them. Give it to somebody else. Just give it to somebody else. I want to see something different done.
That's exactly what I thought. I like Singer. I like the X-Men too. I thought that was actually probably my favorite of all of them. I really liked First Class, and I liked that it seemed like a different direction for the franchise in terms of how they were doing the film. I really want to see that continue. I don't want to see Singer come back. I kind of want to see what Brian said, somebody new take over and see what they can bring to it. Because I do think it's missing that darker edge. And X-Men 2 I really liked. I didn't love X-Men 1, but I liked it enough. I mean, there's a lot of cheesy moments in that one. But I think they were also trying to introduce the characters. And anytime you have an origin, it takes longer to get going. X-Men 2 was a great comic book movie. X-Men 3 was an awful comic book movie. First Class kind of made it all come back around. I'd kind of like to see it done with somebody else. But I don't think Bryan Singer's going to do a bad job. You know, I'm sure the film will be fine. I just kind of would rather see somebody else pick up the reins. But
you're all fucking crazy.
Yeah. What you going to do about it? Huh?
Dance, Bucky, dance.
Oh, y'all are crazy.
Adam Sandler's next movie is going back to his goofy-ass roots with Ridiculous Six. It's a comedic take on a famous Western, The Magnificent Seven, and it's going to be scheduled for spring break 2014.
Now, I've basically stopped being a fan of Adam Sandler's movies, basically probably since 50 First Dates. With an honorable mention to Grown Ups. I did enjoy Grown Ups, but since then, I don't know what, maybe middle age is, I don't know, dulling his humor knife or something. I don't know, but I think people just go, these movies still make money, and I don't know why, because they are horrible. His last few movies have just been bad, and I don't know who pays to go see these movies, but they're idiots.
Aaron just raised his hand.
Yeah, I raised my hand.
I don't know either, because I can't speak to how bad they are because I haven't seen them, but I don't have any desire to.
I love Adam Sandler. Like old Adam Sandler, I love Adam Sandler.
But this is not this is not that. That's exactly right. Old Adam Sandler is hilarious. This Adam Sandler that we have right now is not.
I agree. I think Grown Ups, Longest Yard, those are the two last really good movies that I like. Those are the two Adam Sandler movies I like the most.
Because he wasn't being over the top. Like, And That's My Boy.
That's I really wish he would go back to that.
That's my boy.
Yeah, when he does That's My Boy, and Jack and Jill, like, who thought that was a good idea? And I really hated Little Nicky. I mean, I hate the stuff where he does caricatures, because Waterboy it worked, but usually it doesn't. Usually it doesn't. So if you would just go back to being Adam Sandler, like in Longest Yard, where he's playing a straight guy, or Grown Ups, where he plays a straight guy, I love that Adam Sandler.
Or Wedding Singer.
Oh, that would be great.
I loved him in Wedding Singer.
Julie Gulia.
He was a normal guy.
Huh?
He was a normal guy.
Yeah, one of the things that kind of stands out to me is that these movies look like it's just they're getting paid to hang out, and by chance, hey, you know what? We'll make a movie just to give us an excuse to hang out for a couple of months because all the same guys are in the same movies, and that's awesome. I wish I could get paid to hang out with you guys.
So do I.
Me too.
So.
Please buy your Imaho shirts.
Yes, if you buy an Imaho shirt.
I should be paid.
If you go to podcastawards.com and vote for us, maybe one day we can make some money out of this.
Good luck with that.
We'll all go to Vegas and do the hungover.
Oh, you went there.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Brian, please finish your point.
Somebody prime his humor pump because he is he's not firing on all cylinders this evening.
Please finish your thoughts so we can move on, please.
Basically, it's I don't know. Again, I think people just go because of the name Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody really watches it. I think they just veg out for about an hour and a half through some bad movies and walk out laughing out of habit. And I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for Adam Sandler to come back to being funny. So,
well, maybe this will be it.
I'm off my soapbox.
I think it's a case of Adam Sandler being given too much power. He was funnier when he had oversight and people having reins on him. But when he started making money, he got too much power. People let him do what he wants. And sometimes just being allowed to do whatever you want is not a good thing. And I think that's the case with him.
Yeah, look at our show. Fuck.
No shit.
George Clooney is next directing The Monuments Men. It's about the ending of Hitler's regime. And he's already managed to put together himself for the cast. Daniel, which I guess was pretty easy to recruit himself. Daniel Craig, Bill Murray, Kate Blanchett, John Goodman, and more.
Every time we talk about a new film based on World War II, I just get instantly bored. I'm so tired of war movies in general, much less World War II. What I think is most interesting is the inclusion of Bill Murray in there. Because Bill Murray, obviously a comedic actor, but even when he's doing his serious roles, has some comedic element to it, like in Lost in Translation, which was like a pretty serious movie, but he's still underlyingly funny. Is he going to be like the comedic relief in this kind of thing? I
just hope he shows up.
Because he shows up.
He's Bill Murray, man. You never know if Bill Murray's going to show up. You can cast him, but you better check with his publicist. Make sure he's going to show.
Is there a Jew bear in it?
Is there? I'm sure there's got to be a Jew bear in there.
I'm kind of with Scotty. It's the same thing with movies as it is kind of with games. As soon as I see World War II, I kind of check out. It's one of the most horrific events in human history, and it will be a mark that is forever remembered in our past. But when it comes to the art surrounding it, I feel like I've seen all that I care personally to see. So no, I have no interest in this.
Screw both of you. Sorry, it's not the Sound of Music, to get you interested in it. But
is George going to sing?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I'd see that.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty,
oh so pretty.
Down with the Jew. I think it sounds great. George Clooney is an excellent director. He does excellent material. I can't wait to see it.
I would watch this cast. Watch paint dry.
I look forward to seeing an eventual trailer. I'm sure that will change because I do have a huge man crush on Clooney. So I'm sure it'll change. But just World War II in and of itself doesn't interest me. If their performances do, then sure. What the hell?
Speaking of man crushes, Kurt Russell has been gone from screens for far too long. And he's going to be starring along Peter Skarsgård, Richard Jenkins, and Jennifer Carpenter in
Skarsgård?
Did I say Skarsgård?
Is he the Lion King?
There is
a Skarsgård, but it's not Peter Skarsgård.
Whatever.
Stellan.
Bone Tomahawk. It's a horror western about a sheriff, a gunslinger, a befuddled oldster, and a cowboy as they attempt to rescue a group of captives from cannibals.
I love this idea. Westerns are something that have just never been tweaked with enough. And granted, Cowboys and Aliens pretty much sucked. but I liked that somebody took a Western and tried to do something different with it. To me, horror is a natural for a Western setting. In fact, I've got several short stories that I would love to write that are horror Westerns. It's a fun way to go. So to have this movie be talked about and Kurt Russell being hired for it, or at least they're looking to hire him for it, looks great. I want to see it. I hate the title. I think Bone Tomahawk is just about the dumbest title I've ever heard. But the idea of the story itself sounds like a lot of fun. I am definitely interested in this.
I am too. I'd buy a ticket today. Right now, I would.
Well, just because
It's just
Kurt Russell.
Exactly. That's what a man crush is.
My middle name is Russell, and for the longest time when I was a kid, my uncle said, "You know, he's our cousin, right?"
And you believed him?
Oh yeah. Well, I was a kid, motherfucker, and it was my uncle. Adults didn't lie.
He
And then
wouldn't lie to
they
me.
did.
You didn't find out till you were 14, and he started diddling. All right.
He didn't find out till he was 35.
Wow. Stay out of my room. A couple of news bits. Frank Grillo was cast as Crossbones for the Captain America sequel. It's a henchman for the Red Skull, who is a precise marksman. And Riddick officially got an R rating. No more of this PG-13 bullshit.
Yeah, Grillo was really one of the high points of that movie, The Gray, with Liam Neeson. I thought he did a phenomenal job in that movie, so I'm excited to kind of see what he can do with a character like this. Crossbones is basically just kind of think the Punisher, but he's a bad guy. Mm-hmm. Lots of guns. He can shoot really good, and
Shoots real good.
I'm actually I really like Frank Grillo. I'm really surprised that they're going with Crossbones, to be honest with you. It seems it's a great choice. I'm glad that they're going with it, but it's darker than I thought they were going to go. You know, because he is kind of like more violent than the Punisher was.
Weren't you just saying you wanted a darker X-Men, but you're okay with the lighthearted Captain America?
Captain America is a different kind of comic book, dude.
absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, but they're going with what was the title for it? The Winter Soldier.
Winter
Yes.
Soldier storyline,
Right.
yes.
So it's going to be a darker story, and it's fitting. The only thing, though, is Crossbones is a henchman of the Red Skull. That was World War II back in the 40s. It's now, coming up on 70 years later. Where the fuck's the Crossbones been? Has he been on ice, too? I mean, how is he still around? I'll be curious to see how they show his history with the Red Skull, and yet him still existing in the timeline of Captain America. I'm assuming this will be taking place after the Avengers. That seems to be everything I've read. So I'll be curious to see how they do it. As far as Riddick goes, that's good fucking news, because I want all the blood and violence I can possibly get.
I think of Riddick, I kind of group that with Aliens in a way, and the second, and I mean Aliens, the second movie there, because it's horror-ish, but there is a lot of action. So it's really kind of an action horror movie, and I'm glad to see the R rating, so that they can just kind of take off the reins and just let this just run with it.
Okay, let's go to the home mill, Scott.
All right, this is our segment where we talk about rumors, that kind of thing. We all do like movie news, but every once in a while something's worth mentioning, even if it's if it isn't completely confirmed, or it might just be an informed rumor. So we got a couple this week. First off, just a quick mention: we got a bunch of Twitter messages and otherwise asking why we didn't talk about Ghostbusters 3 and the fact that it was filming next summer. Well, this is why it's not. Decisions on Ghostbusters 3 have been postponed until March, which means shooting couldn't start until fall at the earliest. So until the camera turns on, we're just not going to bring it up anymore. Unless it's got Kurt Russell in it, then we might talk about it. But
Oh, if they cast Kurt Russell, it'll be in every episode.
secondly, we got Jamie Foxx, who's in talks to be playing Electro in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which will be the sequel to the movie that came out this past summer. Justin, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it sounds like cool news. I love Jamie Foxx as an actor. I can't recall the last time he did anything that I didn't like. So to have him play a villain is great news. Actors who start playing a lot of leading roles, for some reason, seem so hesitant to play the bad guy. And I don't know if it's because they're afraid of having the public look at them as though they're bad or evil or something, but I don't know. But having him want to maybe take a role like that, be Electro, be the bad guy, sounds fantastic to me. Hell, I'll start buying my ticket right now.
Yeah, Electro is one of those characters that he was kind of a bit nutty, kind of a little bit loony and stuff, and I think Fox could really pull that off. He's one of those odd choices. I kind of liken it to Michael Keaton with Batman. Like, I just don't know if that would work. But the more I kind of think about it, I really think he would probably do a really good job.
I What about Wesley Snipes? He's going to be out of prison soon.
Oh my God.
He's got to do Blade 4.
Yeah.
Blade 4, that's going to happen.
Saving for Expendables 19. Welcome to Brian's Trailer Park. All right, thanks, Aaron. If you're not Magic Mike, and let's face it, who is? Then what's the next best name to get the lady folk to pack the movie house? Nicholas Sparks. I said the ladies, not you.
Oh, I thought Justin would have pepped up for that.
Yeah.
No, God, this trailer. Oh, my God.
Let him finish. Carry on.
The author of The Notebook and Dear John has his next movie coming out on February 8th, 2013, just in time for Valentine's Day. So mark your calendars, ladies. It's about a young woman who's running from something and or somebody and falls for a local that's played by Josh Duhamel. I know it's not Duhamel, but it's some funny sounding name.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Welcome to my world. Yeah.
Duhamel.
Duhamel.
There's no R's in that one.
He's Arabic.
Oh, man. So, Scotty, he's one of our resident sentimentalists.
I.e. girl.
Are you packing up your tissues to see this?
No, not at all. And it's really too bad too, because Julianne Hough looked gorgeous in Rock of Ages, and I've been looking forward to seeing her play another role, and I just have no interest. It looks so boring.
I was looking for Julia Roberts or Jennifer Lopez,
Katherine Heigl.
So it's all the same movie. These girls are like, oh my goodness, my husband beat me. I'm going to run away and apparently start this new life. How does this happen? How do these people start this new life? Where do you get these fake identification shit? I have a hard time. Kids can't even get fake IDs to get liquor anymore? It's too hard. You can find a whole new identity. Apparently they sell that shit on eBay. I don't know where that.
Oh man,
awkward pause.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we just kind of waited for you to keep going with it, man. You just kind of just stopped.
You were circling the bowl. I was
kind of slammed on brakes in the middle of that interstate, dog.
Oh, God, this movie looks so trite, so by the numbers, so fucking boring. I love a good romantic film or a rom-com as much as The Next Girl, but Jesus Christ, at least try to do something interesting. And this could have had anybody else cast in it with any other title in any other place, and it would have been just the same fucking movie, boring as shit. I just don't understand why this film was made. I truly don't. It's so. Blech.
But really, nothing for Julia Roberts and J-Lo? Nothing? Crickets?
No.
All right.
No, crickets. Not even crickets. Crickets aren't even wasting their time.
Crickets are all.
I'm sorry,
I just
listeners.
it's like every other Nicholas Sparks movie. You know that whole movie from that trailer.
Yep.
You know exactly what's going to happen.
Let's spoil it right now. They fall in love happily ever after.
Aw.
Yeah, the ex-husband who's probably a mob boss or something like that, finally tracks her down.
He's a cop. He's got to be a cop. It's always a cop.
Could be a cop. Same thing.
Cop. Definitely cop. Yeah.
Cop, mafia, same shit.
Exactly. So, and then, of course, Josh Duhamel runs, of course, saves the day and everything. So, well, something that may have, a few more laughs anyway, is Dustin Hoffman makes his credited directorial debut with a cast whose average age is barely higher than the cast of The Expendables. It's called Quartet and stars such great actors as Maggie Smith, Michael Gambon, and one of my personal favorites, Billy Connolly. So Quartet takes place in a retirement home for opera singers, and their yearly celebration of Verdi's birthday is disrupted by Jean's arrival, who acts like the diva she was, but she just won't sing and play nicely with the others. But as they say, the show must go on. So I know Scott is our musical guy, but Aaron, I know you kind of appreciate these types of comedies a little bit more. What do you say, old chap?
Cheerio. I really want to see it. The trailer really caught me. You know what? Shut your fucking whoremouth.
I got your back, Aaron.
That's right. Now I'm telling you what, Maggie Grace, she had poise.
Maggie Smith, but
Maggie Smith.
Maggie
Grace.
But you know what? Maggie Grace does well in the Taken movies, and she is very pretty for a 30-year-old who's playing teenagers.
Maggie Smith actually ages, so
Maggie Smith
difference.
is actually probably like 80-something years old at this point. I don't know if she could pull off playing a teenager.
All right, Maggie Smith has poise and grace. I think she looks great. I like how they are addressing the fact that these people are getting old and they're realizing it, and it's, you can tell it's wearing on them. It's depressing, but they're trying to be fun. They're trying to have some rejuvenation in their life. It's kind of like a New World Cocoon, I guess, without the science fiction twist and Steve Guttenberg. So
the Goot.
I think it looks great. I can't wait to see it. Clever. Billy Connolly looks hilarious.
He was the only part of that trailer that looked halfway interesting. I'm sorry, when the guy said that if they don't do this show, the old folks' home is going to go under, I thought, well, when are they going to break out the car wash or the whatever it is they used to do back in the 80s when they had to save something? And so they did a car wash. They're trying to save a camp, but now it's with the elderly set. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be all, grumpy McGrumperson over here on these two trailers, but there is absolutely nothing in this one that made me even want to watch that trailer again, much less the whole film.
I was pretty bored too, but I could listen to Billy Connolly talk all day long.
Yeah. Connolly is fantastic.
You guys are haters. You probably hate a Cocoon too.
Well, I thought I was watching fucking Harry Potter the older years. Yeah, it's got McGonagall and it's got Dumbledore.
Yep. But Maggie Grace was awesome.
Maggie Grace was awesome in the original Clash of the Titans. So, oh my god,
oh boy,
that's the woman from Hook.
You
isn't
freaking
it?
amaze me.
Yeah,
Maggie Smith.
Yeah, she's the chick in Harry Potter.
Right.
The chick in Harry.
The chick.
Hermione.
Wow.
She hasn't
really
aged very
redeemed
well.
yourself with that one there.
Way to narrow that down.
Mr. Encyclopedia of movie knowledge.
It's a weeknight for me. What do you want me to tell you?
Let me move this on before Aaron fucks something else up. Quartet opens January 4th, 2013. If there's anything you want us to weigh in on, send us an email at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. You can reach us a few other ways also. Our Twitter handle is @H_outsider. And you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Hollywood Outsider, where you can post comments, questions, and catch some interesting news and stuff that we post. Don't forget, you can get your official I'm a Ho t-shirts at thehollywoodoutsider.com. And please go to podcastawards.com and vote for us once a day, every day, through November 15th in the movies and TV section.
Stump the Ho.
Stump the Ho. Each week, one of our hosts poses a trivia question to the remaining hosts in an attempt to stump their fellow hoes. Hoes meaning Hollywood Outsider. This week is my turn. I was going to do this in a cool Sean Connery accent, but I can barely breathe at this point, so I'm just going to...
Oh, thank God.
push it along.
Yeah.
So,
The interesting word of that was cool.
James Bond. Here's a question. James Bond is celebrating his 50th year this year, which we will have a spoiler cast shortly after Skyfall is out. My question is this. Ready? Of all the various guys who have played James Bond, which one was the only one to have ever been nominated for a BAFTA? That's a British Academy Award. Was it A, Sean Connery, B, George Lazenby, C, Pierce Brosnan, or D, Daniel Craig? Scott. Great Scott.
I have no clue.
Would you like another option?
I'm going to say. On that play your game, you rogue. Daniel Craig. I don't know.
Okay. Scott says Daniel Craig.
I'll go with Pierce Brosnan.
Brian says Pierce Brosnan. Justin?
I'm going to say Daniel Craig as well. For some reason, that film, that crap film with the shitty ending, for some reason strikes me as a BAFTA type of movie. So
the crap film with the shitty ending.
What was that movie?
Let's move on. We'll learn the answer.
You talking about layer cake? Layer cake?
Yes, thank you. Fuck. I was not going to be able to move on. I was going to have to pause the show and go look it up.
Layer cake was great.
Layer cake was great until the fucking ending. Much like this, the ending blew dog.
All right, well, we're going to learn the answer a little later in the show when we correct Justin on his taste in movies. Now let's go to the big screen, where we're going to talk about Cloud Atlas. I don't know how long this is going to go, but get ready.
Hopefully
Justin?
shorter than the movie.
Justin, what is Cloud Atlas? If you can explain it, please, I'm listening.
Well, all right. That's what makes this review difficult, because unlike most films that follow, your traditional narrative flow, Cloud Atlas does not do that at all. Cloud Atlas isn't about a narrative so much as it's about a theme. It's about ideas. And then it uses these 6 shorter stories interwoven between each other to discuss that theme and to show what that theme means, what the directors and the writers of this movie. And of course, this is based on a book. In 2004, Cloud Atlas, the novel, came out from David Mitchell. And so what this movie does is it attempts to highlight that theme, and in my opinion, it does it in a way that does not beat you over the head. Some people disagree with that. One of our listeners, Jessie Morris, she emailed us and wanted one of the aspects of our review to be to talk about whether or not we felt like the movie beat you over the head with its theme or whether it did it more subtly. In my opinion, I thought it was a very subtle display or movie about its themes. And just to be quick, which I've already kind of ruined the quickness of this review, the movie's not about a story. It's about the idea of connectedness. It's an idea about the love and its power and impact, its ability to connect us together, not just in the now, but in the past and in the future, and what our relationships mean as they ripple through time. And so you get to see various relationships, starting at 1849, going right through to the future, into the stars. And so it's not an easy film to talk about, because I can't just give you a plot point by plot point description as though it's going to mean anything, because it's not. So let me go ahead then and open this up to you, Aaron. Did you feel like it handled its themes well, or did you think it was heavy-handed? And how did you feel about the movie?
Okay. Well, story-wise, there's 6 stories, right? 6 stories. And they're all over the map, which is a good I think there are some subtle things that lead from one story to the next, but I think they're subtle. I don't think they beat you over the head with it. There's little things like the sonnet that one person's writing will show up in the next story. And then something from that story will show up in the next story. You know what I'm talking about, Justin? And there's little touches that go throughout. There's a birthmark that pops up in several different spots. I mean, there's little things that connect everything, but each story is kind of its own thing. So the only thing I didn't like about it was kind of how each scene led to a scene from a different story. So you never have a long period of time with one story. I mean, you really have to pay attention. That can be a good thing and a bad thing. I liked part of it. I liked the fact that you had to pay attention to the movie. You really couldn't get up and go to the bathroom because you're going to miss something. But I didn't like that you don't get a lot of time with one particular story. I mean, literally each scene, the very next scene is a different story. So you don't get like 3 scenes of the same timeline. Make sense?
Are the scenes that important? I mean,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think the stories are really that complicated. I think what Justin said is very accurate. I think it's more about the theme and how each story kind of interrelates with the overall theme, which is that there's different variations of love. There's different variations of conquering things. You see how the course of time, the world changes, and how really it all just ends up in one big circle. It all comes back around, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really ballsy. Honestly, it was a ballsy chance, because it's really hard to do something like this, especially with the kind of money that they threw at it. I mean, it's $100 million budget.
Well, it's $100 million movie that looks like a $200 million film.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. It really does.
But in the book actually has these 6 stories, but each story is told individually. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
They're not intermingled like they are in the movie. But in the movie, I listened to an interview with the directors, and they said that they didn't want to do it that way because they felt like all you would be getting, you would lose a lot of power, because as soon as you get the ending of one, then you got to start all over again with the slowness of another. And then it would follow like a wave motion that would just be uninteresting and would really lead people to feeling like they were watching an anthology of short movies. By intercutting them and intermixing them, what they were able to do is they were able to give you rising drama and action, but then also moments of comedy that some of these stories would not have had. Some of these stories are not funny. They're very dramatic. Some of them, though, are incredibly funny with very little drama. So by taking some of the funny moments from one, cutting it amidst the drama of another, you're able to get that kind of rising action, the fall, the comedic relief, and bring them all through together. But I also felt like I never got bored with any of them, because as soon as maybe one of the stories might have gotten to the end of what it was showing, boom, you go right to something new that's interesting. But they come back. And so I always felt like I was getting this cleansing my palate constantly throughout the movie. You never get too bored with any one character or story, because it's constantly moving backward and forward. And I loved that narrative flow, and it was beautifully done. Some of these stories do intermingle. There are elements that you will see rippling throughout the other ones, but it's not a hard and heavy thing that they're just shoving up in your face and just grinding it against you, saying, look at the symbolism of this.
Yeah.
A lot of it is very subtle, and some of it you won't notice. I can't wait to see it again, if only so that I can catch some of the things that I missed the first time around.
One point about the story. The futuristic story is my favorite, the most futuristic, where it's Tom Hanks and Halle Berry, and he's basically a simple guy because the world has completely changed. And basically he's a backcountry folk, and she comes in her futuristic world, and you have to see the story to see how it plays out. That's my favorite story. But they use this goofy-ass language to try to illustrate the story that was completely unnecessary. It sounded like the movie Nell. Did you guys ever see the movie Nell?
Mm-hmm. Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
Hey in the wind.
Yeah, Tay in the wind. It's
God,
just,
angel
it's
come.
goofy
Yeah,
for no reason.
angel.
You can emphasize your point to me without trying to, understand your backcountry English, man. It was just, you want to hear the true? I don't want to hear the true. I want to hear the truth. That part was the only part where it's my favorite story, but that really irritated me. But that's neither here nor there. What did you think of the acting?
Well, unfortunately, that story also had the only bit of acting that I did not like in the whole film, and it was Hugo Weaving's character. In that particular story, he plays kind of this green devil who constantly is whispering in Tom Hanks's ear. And you find out really quickly that this guy doesn't actually exist. He's a figment of Tom Hanks's character's imagination. I hated that guy. It was so over the top. If you didn't like the language, he would really make you hate it, because I thought his usage of it was worse than any of them.
Yeah, it was.
I only kind of thought it didn't have, it kind of seemed so at odds with the rest of the film, because none of the other characters, so far as I know, had these characters from their imagination on the screen. Suddenly this one did. And so it kind of threw me off a little bit. That said, everybody else I thought did a magnificent job of playing these different characters throughout time, sometimes different genders. And I was so impressed with how everyone did their job. And for me, the finest point of acting in it was Halle Berry's character that she played during the moments of the movie that took place in Edinburgh, Scotland, where a young man goes to become like an assistant to a composer. Well, the composer's wife is this Jewish woman. And it took me a little while to realize, oh my God, that's Halle Berry, because the color of her skin, her nose, her hair, all these things have been changed through makeup. But her performance of that character, I thought was fantastic. But everybody involved, bang up job. I could not have been more impressed, except for that one character.
I agree. All the acting was stellar. I thought it was pretty cool to see each actor pop up in various roles throughout the film, like in different scenes, whatnot. The makeup was a little distracting in parts.
Yeah.
Asians do not make convincing white people. I'm sorry if that's offending someone, but it just didn't work. That really took me out of it because, you can make Halle Berry, you can paint her up. Okay, it makes sense, but you can tell a Chinese woman is playing a white woman. It just didn't work for me. And that really was distracting. But outside of that, everything worked really well. The acting was great. That's the Chinese lady or Japanese, whatever she is. I really liked her story arc, which is one of the futuristic ones. There's a couple futuristic ones. She's the one. What is it like in the near future? Is that pretty much what that one was? I'm trying to remember the timeline because it is kind of confusing. But that storyline I really liked because it was a really interesting take on how we see the future. Everybody did great. Tom Hanks, great actor, did a fantastic job playing a lot of different kind of parts. He went from an old guy to a young guy to a action hero. Never seen Tom Hanks as an action hero. It worked. I mean, I was very impressed.
Fantastic stuff. It's interesting though that you bring up Asians playing whites and whites playing Asians. A controversy kind of sprang up with the Media Action Network for Asian Americans, and they criticized the film for its portrayal of Asian characters. They felt like taking a white person and putting them in makeup to look Asian was offensive, that they should have hired Asians to play those roles. I could not disagree more, and I think that the only way you could say that is if you haven't watched the film.
Uh-huh.
It's not about a white person playing an Asian. It's about these characters and these actors performing different characters at different points in time. It would have made no sense had they hired someone completely different to play, say, the interrogator in the Sunmi 451 storyline. The person who's asking her all the questions.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That guy plays different characters all throughout the movie. It would have made no sense had they just hired someone completely different to come in and play that one role. Just as it wouldn't have made any sense to hire just some white girl to play the wife that the Asian woman plays. True, she doesn't look white, but for me, that's not the point. The point was using this actress to play that role to show that continued connectedness of people throughout time. If they'd have hired just some white girl to play it, that sense of that connectedness would have been completely gone.
That's a good point.
So that's why I have no issue with that, and I think these people who do obviously didn't see the film.
I saw the film. I'm just saying she didn't look like a white girl.
No, did not. And there were the white guys who were made to look Asian. I'm sorry, Hugh Grant, there is not makeup enough.
No.
That, though, is the fact that they kept talking about unification. And I kind of took that as that, the entire world had at some point unified to the point that the breeding amongst people just, created people who looked partially Asian, partially, Anglo-Saxon. So that didn't bother me. Production quality on this film, though, what did you think? Did it look like 100 million? Did it look less? Did it look more?
It looked great. It was like several small, sweeping mini epics, really.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the production throughout most of the stories is actually fairly minimal, whether you're talking about a sailing ship or Edinburgh, Scotland, or just some building an old folks' home. That doesn't require a heck of a lot of money to go into it. I think a lot of that money went into the Neo Soul segment, which is where in the trailers where you're seeing that futuristic skyline and them, flying these vehicles over these glittering roads. As soon as that moment, that the action in that moment kicked in, I almost felt like I was back in the Matrix because it had that tight action feel that the Wachowskis gave to the Matrix films. And I loved when they really kind of got to open that up a bit. And there was a little bit of combat, just a little bit, but God, it was fucking good and tight. And then boom, done. And they were out with it. This movie is one of the most beautiful films I have ever seen in my life. Clear, gorgeous colors. The screen was just sumptuous. I wished I'd seen it on IMAX, and I'm going to see if I can try and find it on a really big screen. This movie deserves that kind of canvas.
So what's your verdict?
Oh, God. If you're asking me if I'm going to pay $1 to $10, how much would I be willing to spend to go see this movie? It probably sounds a bit dramatic or hyperbolic on my part. I'd easily pay $20 to go see this movie again. It is a beautiful movie, and I think that the risks that the filmmakers took in making it the way that they did deserves to be compensated and deserves to be rewarded. I want this film to make money because I want more films to be made like it. I want to be made to think occasionally when I go into a theater, and far too movies try to make me think. This one did. I appreciate it. I want them to be rewarded. It's the best film I've seen this year so far by a huge mile.
I think not anything revolutionary. I thought the stories were pretty simple. A lot of people are saying that they're very deep and broad. I didn't see it. I thought they were really easy to follow. They do have resolution at the end, so it's not, some people are concerned that, well, at the end you're not going to get any resolution and it's just going to be one of those, well, you just didn't get it kind of movies. No, you can get it. It's not that hard to focus on. I do think the movie's about 30 minutes too long. I was interested for most of the time, though. The editing does keep you interested because you can't frickin' turn away. I think once you see it, I'm kind of concerned what that replay value would be because, okay, now I know how it all plays out. And some of the stories were getting a little long in the tooth. I mean, you could tell if they were their own thing, it probably wouldn't hold as much of your interest. But I like the movie. I give them a lot of credit for taking chances, man, because they don't make movies like this anymore. They don't take chances like this. I don't think it worked perfectly. A lot of things they could have tightened up, but I give it 7 out of 10. And now into the box office. Argo took number 1 for the first time in 3 weeks with a whopping $12 million. That's a horrible number for number 1, but pretty good for a movie that's been out for 3 weeks. At $60 million, the flick is holding well, so there's a good chance it's going to hit $100 million before it's all said and done. Cloud Atlas, on the other hand, opened only $9.6 million. So at a budget of over $100 million and huge stars like Halle Berry and Tom Hanks, this is considered a huge flop. Which is sad because, Justin would spend a lot of money on it, and I admit it's a good movie. So take a chance, man. People say that they want new stuff in the theater. Well, you got to go see it. If it doesn't make money, they're not going to make it.
It's a beautiful movie.
And we're gonna pause, and Justin's just gonna keep talking about Cloud Atlas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's start over again.
Isn't it sad that Silent Hill made just $1 million shy of what Cloud Atlas made?
Yeah, Silent Hill Revelations wasn't one, with only $8 million. Paranormal Activity 4 dropped 70% to $8.5 million for a $42 million total. That's less in 10 days than Part 3 made an opening weekend. Wow. Fun Size and Chasing Mavericks were both huge flops at $4 million and $2 million. But in good news, Skyfall opened everywhere else but here, which, sucks, but whatever. We'll see it in a couple weeks. And it opened to $80 million in the rest of the world. Biggest Bond debut ever.
Wow.
Including the UK, where it was second only to the last Harry Potter movie. They love some James Bond over there.
All right, we've got 2 movies we're going to be talking about today, opening up on November 9th, though technically Lincoln is getting a limited release November 9th. It'll expand nationally the following week, but because it is a limited release, we're going to go ahead and squeak her in this week. Lincoln's a biopic directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln and Sally Field as Mary Todd Lincoln. The film's based on Doris Kearns Goodwin's biography of Lincoln entitled Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln, and covers the final 4 months of Lincoln's life. So if you're going into this one expecting a retelling of his entire life, nah, you're getting the last 4 months of it. The timing of the film's release coincides with the 150th anniversary of the days leading to and the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation. DreamWorks has announced that the film will focus on the political collision of Lincoln and the powerful men of his cabinet on the road to abolition and the end of the Civil War. Screenwriter Tony Kushner has said that he worked on the script for 6 years, and then he was very interested in, quote, the relationship of Lincoln to the abolitionist GOP, and that Lincoln's incredible ability to finesse very, very treacherous political circumstances and continue to move the country forward, to lean the country forward in the midst of the most horrendously difficult period in its history, is breathtaking and awe-inspiring. Scotty, as a citizen of the great state of Illinois, for which Lincoln served as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, are you feeling a drive to see this Are you feeling a drive to see this theatrically, or would you rather just stick with the truth of his vampire slaying?
This is going to be one of the most movies that I'm looking most forward to that I'm probably not going to see in the theater, just because of what else is coming out. But it looks so good, and it's got Oscar written all over it between performances and writing and production and that kind of thing. It just looks fantastic. I mean, from the acting with Tommy Lee Jones and it just.
What's with that toupee, man?
Terrible.
Yeah, that does look bad.
It's the awful
Nope,
toupee.
that's on purpose.
I hope it's to tell a story.
Maybe they should do a movie about that toupee.
They should. I talked about this when we talked about the trailer. I can't get excited about it. I want to. I love Abraham Lincoln, the story, the vampire killer, but I'm just really not getting excited about it. I hope they do a good job of telling it. I don't think we've had a good movie representation of Lincoln in like 50 years. So that would be something to behold, but it just looks like one of those movies that's trying way too hard. And Spielberg got me with Warhorse last year, and I don't feel like being duped again.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Exactly.
I'm all aboard on this, man. It's Daniel Day-Lewis is enough to sell it for me. Then you throw in Spielberg, it looks great. You've got a good supporting cast. I don't know what. I mean, the story is about the only thing that you really can't see in a minute and a half trailer. So it's 3 out of 4 is not bad. I'll take it. I
know how it ends. You guys want to know?
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler! Shh.
He drives off in an old car with a chick going up into the sky.
Yes.
Aaron, I'm kind of with you. It's these sweeping historical epics. I'm not quite sure when I lost my love for them, because I used to have it, but maybe it was Kingdom of Heaven. Just some movie came out of this ilk, and I was like, all right, I'm done. Historical sweeping epics, I am done. And so I have little interest in this. We'll have to see. I don't know. Our second film is Skyfall. Now, this is the 23rd James Bond film, and it features Daniel Craig as the titular James Bond and Javier Bardem as Raul Silva, the film's villain. The film is directed by Sam Mendes, and this movie premiered October 23rd in the United Kingdom. The film's release coincided with the 50th anniversary of the James Bond series, which began with, what movie, Aaron?
Dr. No.
In 1962. And the film Bond investigates an attack on MI6. It transpires that it's part of an attack on M by former MI6 operative Raul Silva. The film sees the return of 2 recurring characters after an absence of the first 2 films. Q, played by Ben Whishaw, and Miss Moneypenny, played by Naomi Harris.
Hello, Moneypenny.
Brian, does Skyfall have you shaken or stirred?
Bravo.
Thank you.
Whichever one's more awesome, I'll take shaken. So, it's whatever. This is got everything I love. So it looks like a great Bond movie. I don't know what else to really say about it. I love Daniel Craig. I think he's awesome as Bond.
Agreed.
I can't put him above Sean Connery just for sacred reasons. And my God, please stop that voice. So, just for sacred reasons, but I just regions.
Sacred regions.
Where's that? Below the navel?
I guess I was maybe envisioning him walking out of that ocean in the first movie. I don't know. But,
whoa, nice shorts.
So, whatever. It's great. Just yes.
The reviews are phenomenal. They're actually talking about that this could be the first one that could be Oscar caliber because of the reviews. The reviews are so good, and Javier Bardem is apparently so good. They're saying that he's one of the best Bond villains ever. Not recently, ever.
Wow.
And that's saying something, man. Because in the old days, there were some awesome ones. When they fought Sean Connery. So, to me, the fact that they're even comparing them is amazing. And the fact that Daniel Craig keeps bringing it, even after Quantum of Solace, I thought he would just give up. But, kick ass. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I am extremely excited. It just looks so good. I can't get over the scene of him busting down that train and just adjusting his
adjusting himself.
First thing,
what's up?
How do they fit his balls into those pants? I don't know.
James Bond or Daniel Craig himself? I don't know exactly.
Daniel Craig. Well, hell, either of them. How did they get him in there? Because he's got huge balls after jumping through that train.
Well, he got him knocked off
and tie like ain't no thing.
He got him knocked off in Casino Royale, so they're probably
Well, they probably swole up.
pulverized.
I'm really happy that Q and Moneypenny are in this, because to me those are staples of the series, and the fact that they haven't been in there has been a disservice to the franchise. So, and
Wow, disservice.
I would say disservice. As a huge Bond fan, it's a disservice. And I'm excited that they've gotten off of this, because Quantum Solace was essentially a sequel to Casino Royale, and I hated that idea. And it came off that way. It wasn't a bad movie. It was okay. But Bond is not made for sequels. It's made for individual standalone films. That's how Bond is built.
One quick note, too.
Don't fuck with it again.
I read about, they always have that opening song that...
Yeah, it's Adele this time.
It's Adele, and I've purposely avoided hearing it because I've heard it's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to experiencing that in that opening segment. Apparently, it brought Daniel Craig to tears in an article I read.
Okay, that's exaggerating. Really?
That's what the article said. But
does she make you weep?
I'm not
I don't
a huge
know about
Adele
all that,
fan.
but a couple of weeks ago on 60 Minutes, they did a piece on the family of the guy that created the Bond character, and they still control the Bond franchise.
Correct. Yep.
And which is just, to me, is in this day and age of people's, I mean, look at George Lucas selling out Star Wars. It's just amazing that they still control that. And they have, I mean, their hands are right in the middle of it with everybody else's, and I just think that is just absolutely awesome.
You want to know where his balls are? They're in their hands. That's where.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Of these two films, which of them is your pick of the week? Brian?
Skyfall.
Scotty?
Definitely Skyfall.
Aaron?
Well, that's going to be Skyfall.
Oh,
You're welcome.
All right. Well, it looks like we all be falling for Skyfall.
Wow. Okay. You can always hear us on iTunes, Zoom, Google, listen on your Stitcher Radio app. Give us a thumbs up if you do. And RockfordCollegeRadio.com Thursdays from 4 to 6.
What's this movie?
What's this movie? Each week we play ours or our listeners suggest a clip from a movie. If you think you know what the clip is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com or send us a direct message on Twitter at @H_outsider. And we will announce those that got it correct on the air and give you a proper ho shout out. Last week's answer was Scream. That was my choice. Those that got it correct were Kristen D, Jesse M, Jessica W, Michael Warren H. This week, it's Brian's turn. So if you think you know what this is, email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Here's your clip.
Today, you're a man. Mazel tov on your bar mitzvah.
It's a big seller.
I meant as an architect.
Yeah. I doubt it.
Well, you're a perfectly adequate greeting card writer.
Thank you. That was actually my nickname in college. They called me Perfectly Adequate Hanson.
You used to call me Anal Girl.
Okay, now if you think you know what that was, then email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider. Let's go to TV and home video. American Horror Story started their season 2 recently. Justin, Brian, what the hell's going on with this thing?
You go, Brian. I talk too much during Cloud Atlas.
this is more of a prequel in a way. It follows Jessica Lange's character. She's a nun, and it's in a sick, insane asylum, even though it seems like half the people in there are not insane. And they do some odd, let's say, behavior correction methods and stuff. There's a surprising cast here. James Cromwell is in this. He plays a kind of demented scientist. It looks like he may be
so evil.
He is, and it looks like he may be like creating characters in a Island of Dr. Moreau type fashion. This last season was very good. This season is blowing it away so far.
Really?
I don't know what you think. Absolutely. I don't know what you think, Justin.
It is crazy how good this show is, and how I guess last season they learned what they could get away with and what they couldn't. And so they are really stretching the boundaries on what's possible on these cable networks, between some of the almost nude, kind of the blood, the horror, the violence. Oh man.
Speaking of nudity, there was a surprising large amount of for this type of cable nudity on this. I don't know if you remember the shower scene there, but it was like there's some hiney, but there's just like their asses were on the screen for minutes, and it's like this is a little bit more than a lot of stuff. They really are.
It's a great show. The horror element is through the roof compared to last season, and Jessica Lange, she is once again a marvel.
Now, is she playing the exact same character or in different character?
No. She's playing a much different character this season. She's playing a nun in this insane asylum who's got some issues of her own, but it's a much different character than in the first show. I don't know how much this is going to connect with season 1. I'd heard that even though this took place in a different time period and these actors are playing different characters, that there were still going to be some touches of story with the first one. So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to come around. But these are all new characters, all new situation, and it is fantastic. I'm really, really shocked with how good this is, because it's like half X-Files, half horror show.
And you don't have to have seen the first season to watch this, right?
No, not at all.
Nope, not at all.
And
even Zachary Quinto, who played Siler in the Heroes series, who was in the first season as a apparition, ghost, whatever you want to call it.
Gay ghost.
Yeah. He's in this.
Boo.
But not happy.
Right, but it's he's in this season also, but there's no connection at all. Now, like I said, maybe down the road there will be, but as of the first 2 or 3 episodes, there's no connection so far. So, but very dark, very twisted. It is absolutely phenomenal, and I can't recommend this one enough.
I hide behind those drapes, but they just don't match. I just can't do it. All right, let's go to DVD and Blu-ray, Scotty.
All right, we've got 5 releases that are coming out. 4 are actually coming out on November 6th, as well as the 5th, which is coming out on November 9th. The first is, why are you sighing, Justin?
I fucking hate these Friday releases. I've said it already.
Yeah, I already knew where you was going. You could just keep going.
All right, well, for the Tuesday releases, we've got Arthur Christmas. Yes, it's Christmas season coming up here soon. So the story in this one, on Christmas night at the North Pole, Santa's youngest son looks to use his father's high-tech operation for an urgent mission. Second up, Your Sister's Sister. This one, Iris invites her friend Jack to stay at her family's island getaway after the death of his brother. At the remote cabin, Jack's drunken encounter with Hannah, Iris' sister, kicks off a revealing stretch of days. No comment on that one, Justin?
Just keep going, man.
360, a dramatic thriller that weaves together the stories of an array of people from disparate social backgrounds through their intersecting relationships. And then fourthly, The Pact. As a woman struggles to come to grips with her past in the wake of her mother's death, an unsettling presence emerges in her childhood home. The big one on Friday that Justin is super pissed off about.
I hate fucking Friday releases.
Fucking Friday, why? Bullshit.
The Amazing Spider-Man. If you don't know the story on this one, but I don't know. Peter Parker finds a clue that might help him understand why his parents disappeared when he was young. His path puts him on a collision course with Dr. Kurt Connors, his father's former partner. You can check out the reviews on that. We've got it on youtube.com/The Hollywood Outsider.
Nope, the whole podcast we moved.
Oh, my apologies.
We're ducking the man.
We're fucking the man.
Ducking, I said.
Oh, sorry. My version's better.
Ooh, yeah. Hit me with that unknown shit. Flashback.
All right, with that, we'll move on to our flashback DVD Blu-ray segment. This is where each week one of our hosts recommends a little-known or obscure film that we hope you'll give a chance. This week it's Justin's turn. So, Justin, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I'm going to make a hypocrite out of myself. A couple weeks ago, when I did my last one, I talked about how I think these movies should be over 10 years old before they get called a flashback or an older movie or what have you. Well, I'm going to make a hypocrite and go with a film that came out in 2009. So, yeah, it's about 3 years old, but so few people saw it, it qualifies. So, fuck it. First, I need me a sick little bass track to go with this film, Black Dynamite. I know a lot of people out there either never heard that this film existed, or they did and they saw that it was a blaxploitation spoof and just thought it wasn't going to be worth seeing. Friends and neighbors, you have got to see Black Dynamite. If I could go through the plot and give it to you, it would sound just as silly as every single one of those blaxploitation movies that this film spoofs, but it spoofs it in a loving way, in a film that's very reverential to the previous movies. I mean, even going in so far as to shoot it on Super 16 format. This ain't HD, folks. This is Super 16 to give it that look, that feel. But the movie stars Michael Jai White, who some of you may remember from Spawn. I think he was in Universal Soldier 2. But the guy is a pretty good actor, but an amazing martial artist. And taking on the role of Black Dynamite, who is a former CIA agent out to avenge his brother's death and clean up the streets when a new drug starts ravaging the city. Watching him give these corny one-liners, get them bitches, kick the ass of fools, bring along his his little group of bad guys. It is one of the most entertaining films I've seen in a long time, and they're even doing a cartoon of it, I think, over on either Cartoon Network or Adult Swim was doing a cartoon based on it with the voice of Michael Jai White, still doing Black Dynamite. It is fun. It is interesting. It's everything you could want in one of these types of movies, but just about everybody I've ever talked to about it doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Go pick up this movie, get it on DVD, give it a watch, get some bucket of popcorn and a Coke, or you know what, get some orange drink, if you're going to enjoy it. Great.
Get some purple. Get some purple drink.
Enjoy it.
Wow.
It's fun. It is a lot of fun.
It is seriously
Why don't you just
hilarious.
tell them to pick up some chicken and waffles while you're in?
No doubt, man. We're going to have the NAACP right in my ass.
This is one of those movies that if you do watch it, make sure you watch it with a group.
Saved that one.
Make sure you watch it with a group of buddies. I haven't laughed so hard as I did watching this movie. Some of the funniest one-liners. It's so good. It's really funny.
Black Dynamite.
All playing a guy named Tasty Freeze. I'm playing a guy named Cream Cone. One of his friends is named Bullhorn. Oh, shit. Yeah, get you some chicken, get you some waffles, get some...
All right, we're going to move on to our Stump the Hoe answer. The question again was, James Bond is celebrating his 50th year this year, which we're going to have a spoiler cast for when Skyfall is out. Of all the various guys who have played James Bond, which one was the only one to have ever been nominated for a British Academy Award as James Bond? Was it Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Pierce Brosnan, or Daniel Craig? Scott and Justin both picked Daniel Craig, and Brian picked Pierce Brosnan. Brian, you are absolutely wrong. Scott and Justin, congratulations.
Woo!
You guys are fantastic. Brian's a dumbass.
You're an asshole.
Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah. Hey, he can act.
I know, but he's like everybody's least favorite Bond. I mean,
That's not true. Roger Moore. Roger
No.
Moore, sir.
yeah.
Don't start trying to talk shit, Scott. You're the receiver in this group, not the pitcher.
Now let's go from the outside in because we don't know how long that's going to go.
Yeah, we
Each week we talk about a topic that's on ours or our listeners' minds. This week we're just going to let Dustin take over. Disney shocked everyone by acquiring Lucasfilms this week for $4 billion. Put your pinky up, kids, when you say it. This means everything. Star Wars, Indiana Jones, hell, a Red Tail sequel. Episode 7 has already been announced for 2015. It also includes Industrial Light and Film.
Light and Magic.
Light and Magic,
Magic.
sorry. Thank you. I was correcting myself just as I said it, but it's too late.
ILF?
So where do we go? Where does it go from here, guys? Justin, go ahead. Start it off.
I still don't know what to think. On the one hand, okay, here I am. I got two hands out.
That was the biggest bullshit fucking statement I've ever heard.
Well, no, and I'll tell you why. On the one hand, I like this news because I feel like George Lucas is a textbook example of what happens when someone gets way too much power and is no longer surrounded by people who will question them, maybe call them on their bullshit. All he has is like an echo chamber of yes men. Every time I watch the behind the scenes on the prequel films, he kind of walks through ILM and all those different departments almost like a little tyrant. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but he stamps the things he likes, he X's the things he doesn't, he just moves on. Everybody's just kind of nodding their head and yes, and it just goes. The best art seems to be, in my experience, is an art that is collaborative, that you bring other people in. Now, you can get too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen fucking shit up. But when people just do whatever they want and have all the money in the world to do it and nobody questions them about it, you start getting bad art. And I think that's the biggest problem with the prequels. Nobody questioned him, and he just kind of did what he wanted. And I think by having now Disney owning these characters and this universe, bringing in new blood, fresh blood into the franchise could really give it the life that it needs. Unfortunately, Lucas, I think, has lost a lot of what made the original trilogy so amazing. And it's sad that some of the best Star Wars stuff since then has not been the movies. It's either been the stories in some of the games or in some of the books, but it's not been the prequel trilogy, and that should not be, but it is. On the other hand, I'm a little saddened by it, because I think as much as Lucas has some failings with it, I think he also has, he has been the face of Star Wars for so long, and for nearly practically my entire life. He is Star Wars, and now that's not so. And a lot of people are now going to grow up. My niece and nephew are going to grow up with a world that Star Wars is now more of a corporate franchise and less Lucas's franchise. And I don't know how I'm going to feel when I watch a Star Wars movie and that 20th Century Fox logo and music doesn't come up. But, I'm still going to go. And the fact that they're already planning on an episode 7, fuck, I have to say, man, that gets my nipples just fucking hard. Another Star Wars movie.
I really don't get how 20th Century, I mean, I guess I get it, but 20th Century Fox retains the rights to the last 6 movies until I think it's 2020 or something like that. That just seems confusing to me, because Disney's going to release the next movies, but Fox still retains the other ones. So you're never going to get, which I'm sure Justin is waiting for, a big mega set of all of them when it's all said and done.
I've got my 6 movies already. But what I want to know what talk has been had about maybe either redoing the prequel trilogy, or if they're just going to kind of say those films in our films going forward, those are not canon. Episode 4, 5, and 6 are, and where we go from here. But those 3, if they want to try and retcon the Star Wars mythology, I wouldn't be shocked if they said that.
It's going to be interesting wherever they go, but they are going to make episode 7, which I'm assuming they're going to make another trilogy, 8 and 9. So that's coming out in 2015. It seems kind of short notice, but I know that Lucas has already talked about he's already worked out some kind of treatment for it. So basically they just have to write it and start casting it. It's going to be its own thing. So it's not necessarily following the Luke Skywalker storyline. It'll be some other storyline. But cool that they're continuing it. I mean, that's a huge, huge deal. I thought it was dead. I think it's weird seeing George Lucas with a fucking Mickey Mouse right next to him in the pictures, though. It's almost screams sellout. It just screams sellout.
It's almost like he's got that smile on his face, but he's like secretly hating himself on the inside.
If it's $4 billion, does it count as a sellout at that point?
No, you're right. But I love the fact he did
a press. It just goes way past sellout. It's just like, screw it.
He did a press release that said, this is my retirement plan, and all I kept thinking was $4 billion? Really? That's your retirement?
Yeah.
Well, but this is something that I really think goes to show just how amazing a man he is. He's publicly stated that most of that money will be donated to educational charities, because he feels like the future of our species depends on the education of the young, and he wants to do everything he can to improve it. So most of that $4 billion he will not be keeping. That will be going to charities, and he has done that throughout his life. So, people like him. How
about taking a little bit of that money and investing it in fixing the shit that he fucked up in the first few movies?
I was just thinking that too.
That's what he's going to have to leave to others to do. But I do think that it's a sign of his character that money didn't seem to be the driving force, to line his pockets. I think he genuinely feels tired of running this franchise, getting, nothing but hate mail from people who didn't like the prequels and didn't like where this franchise has gone. And he feels like, there are so many other things I could be spending my time with, my charities, all these other things. Why am I holding on to this? Let me let it go. Maybe someone else can take the reins and do something better. And then I can take the proceeds from that and really do good with it.
I give him credit. And I will say this. I think Disney is genius because they have been slowly putting together Apple, basically. I mean, in the film world, because they have Pixar. They bought Pixar.
Which used to be an ILM.
Yeah, which used to be ILM. They bought Marvel, and now they bought George Lucas, which means I'm finally going to get my Iron Man versus Chewbacca spinoff. And they're putting together the strongest film company, and they've got pirates. I mean, they could have a movie with Iron Man, pirates, and Chewbacca in the same fucking movie. And Ewoks, Jawas could pop up. Fantastic.
Ootiti.
Well, that was the aspect that I really kind of honed in on was not just the the canon of the Star Wars and what's going to happen with the additional movies and who owns rights and all that kind of stuff, but it was more Disney. Like you said, Disney owns Marvel. They own so much. They even own ESPN and ABC. Now, like I said, now you add in Lucasfilm. They even own the freaking Power Rangers. ESPN is one of the most watched channels. So now, and this is, I guess, where all the cross promotion really starts to play into this is where, you're watching your football game or baseball game, Sports Center, whatever the case is, and you're going to have all I'm envisioning are X-Wing fighters fly by the little bottom of the, Star Wars Episode 8 coming out.
Oh, free
November,
advertising.
Summer, whatever. Yeah, it's brilliant, but I hate to even think this thought that this could possibly happen, but I can just see so much oversaturation with promotion for Star Wars, whatever big movie they have coming out, even the Marvel movies, and just being just overwhelmed and by all the cross promotion with all the different channels. Like I said, ABC, ESPN.
Oh my God.
That scares me a little bit.
I just had a thought.
A whole one?
A whole.
What if Joss Whedon did a Star Wars movie? I think
we're gonna move on.
my fucking head would explode. I could not handle. I could not handle that.
We're gonna move on from that. Don't make me edit you. Don't make me do it.
I got a question.
What?
We're talking about.
If it's about Joss Whedon, we're just gonna end right
now.
now.
No, I'm not talking about Joss Whedon. And obviously, there's a lot more properties in Lucasfilms other than Star Wars, but that's probably the biggest prominent one. I'm curious as to where the story would go from there. Episode 6, Luke is literally the last Jedi.
Mm-hmm. He's
the only one left. Most of them, were killed off back in Episode 3. The Empire is done. The rebels win. Where do you go? The other stories.
Isn't Leia? Isn't she?
Well, she's got it in her blood. Yeah.
She could.
It depends. Are they going to follow the movie? The books. Because the follow-up trilogy to the movies is a series of books called the Thrawn trilogy, which follows Luke, Han, and Leia building their new republic. And there's this Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's this alien admiral in a star destroyer, who was off in some other star system while the Empire was ending, and he damn near brings the Empire back single-handedly. I don't think they can do those, unfortunately, because the actors are so much older. And you getting Carrie Fisher into that outfit? and Ford, he's just looking way too long in the tooth to be getting that best on. So I don't know. They've got tons of stories in the books and the comic books. I don't know if they're going to go that route or if they're just going to go somewhere completely different. But there are definite stories out there they could be taking advantage of if they want to.
I just hope they don't try to get younger actors to play those roles. That would just be way too distracting.
No, dude, her name was Leia. She can have some kids. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Han and her are busy.
In the book, she has 3 children. 2 of them are twins, and then young Anakin. So they could do those stories. it wouldn't surprise me if they actually rebooted the whole thing.
Oh no, they won't touch the original trilogy, man. They will not touch
And
it.
it would surprise me.
That would be a crime against nature.
Yeah, but we're all dying. All of us fans, we're old and dying. They got a whole new generation.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Yeah, man. I'm not dying just yet.
Man, I don't plan on going anytime soon.
That brings to one that I'm concerned about. Indiana Jones. If they reboot that, I'm going to be very upset and hurt and wounded and sad.
Yeah, this is awesome. Instead of swinging monkeys, he'll be like going with swinging Chewbacca's.
Swinging Chewbacca. Yoda pops up. What's up, dude?
E.T. comes out of a cave or something. And then they swim over, they have to cross over some body of water where Jaws is at.
This is why you're not in charge, man. This
God, that would be so awesome.
Jaws is Universal. How the hell is he going to pop up in a Disney movie?
Well, whatever. Spielberg, Lucas, they'll buy them too tomorrow.
Well, it seems like. What do you guys want to see in terms of spin-offs? Are there any characters that you'd like to see spun off from the Star Wars franchise? Now that because Disney has officially said, okay, we're not Lucas. We're actually going to make Star Wars movies, which that's been the biggest problem with fans, right? Mm-hmm. It's because they made the prequels and that's all they're getting. So now the internet community is getting really excited because now they're looking at all the possibilities because Disney will milk this bitch in the ground. Mm-hmm. What do you want to see spun off?
I don't personally have any specific characters that I would like necessarily have I would like to see them focus on as a spin-off. Disney has some of the most creative people in the world, and I totally trust whatever they're going to do with it.
They have most of the people in the world at this point.
Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
You don't want to see more Darth Maul? I would love to see a backstory on Darth Maul.
I can see that.
And that actor's young enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would be. I would be fine with that. I mean, I don't know about Dooku, but
you finally get your Boba Fett movie. Fans have been wanting that for forever, man.
Yeah,
Boba Fett spinoff.
If I got what I wanted, they would do a Knights of the Old Republic film. Go back to when the Jedi were huge. That's what I would love to see.
Do you think they're going to ruin the franchise? Do you think they're just like,
no.
Lucas has done a great job of protecting it and not, honestly, even though people give him a lot of grief because the prequels were kind of, he hasn't really milked the film franchise. I mean, he's re-released the same movies and he made the prequels, but he could have made a shitload of other movies and he didn't do it.
Yeah, Disney's talking about 12 episodes already. I read they're excited about getting all the way up to episode 12, at least.
Have you guys watched the Clone Wars cartoon?
Very, very little.
It is really, really good. And so if they can keep up with that kind of level of imagination and story development, I'm hopeful for what they've got coming in the future. I think Disney sees this as probably one of their crown jewels, and hopefully they'll treat it with the reverence that Star Wars deserves.
God, you're still squeeing, aren't you?
And then hire Joss Whedon.
If $4 billion doesn't count as a crown jewel, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that's a good point,
man. And I honestly think this is a bigger catch than Marvel, because even though Star Wars is a smaller world, it's more universal worldwide. That made sense.
Right, with Marvel, you actually have to worry about introducing a lot of these characters to the mainstream public. Star Wars has really shaped a lot of our pop culture.
Yeah, it has.
So does this mean that the next Kingdom Hearts will have Darth Vader? Wrong podcast.
All I know is Ewok movie is on the way. You can count on it.
Oh yeah,
Ewok Pixar movie.
That was my next point. Is you hear Disney, you automatically think kids movie, and granted
I don't not anymore.
Not as much, but the original trilogy was PG. All right, and actually the two of the prequels were PG. PG-13 was only episode 3. Mm-hmm. Do you guys want to see this go darker? Do you want to,
rated R?
Not rated R, but more PG-13.
I think it'll lend itself to that. I think the original trilogy would have been PG-13 nowadays.
You think so?
Yeah. The second Empire Strikes Back definitely would have been PG-13.
Yeah.
The elements were very adult. Return of the Jedi? No. As soon as you introduce Ewoks, it goes back to G. I'm sorry. You can't take that seriously. They aren't a threat.
I don't know. It's just with the advertising, obviously they're putting like Mickey Mouse ears on R2-D2 and putting Goofy with the lightsaber and stuff like that. I just don't want I don't want any of that mixture You know what I mean?
Do you think it's going to be worse than the prequels, whatever they do?
See, I don't hate the prequels as much as everybody does.
You should watch them again.
Oh,
then.
yeah. watch that first one.
Yeah.
No, the first
Get
they
back
get
to me.
progressively better though. I mean, they
They did. The third one I thought was a good movie.
Yeah, I
but
mean-
it took 3 movies to get good.
right. And I'm not saying they're great or nearly as good as the original trilogy by far, but I remember going into episode 1 in a theater, so excited to see a new Star Wars movie, and just feeling so let down because they kidded it up in a lot of ways. I mean, there's a
Dude, it's Disney. They're going to sell toys, but they sold toys from the other films as well. So there's always going to be that element. I don't think you got anything to worry about. Disney seems to be a very smart company when it comes to taking a franchise and straightening it out. I mean, look what they've done with Marvel. Pixar has a tremendous track record.
Stranger Tides.
I like Stranger Tides, so you can suck it. I didn't like the third Pirates. That was the awful one.
Oh, no, that was good.
Oh, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Sorry.
It's physically impossible. I am not allowed to be wrong.
Oh, man. So let's close this. Any other ideas? Is there any, each one of us, is there any crossover you would love to see?
no.
Between Star Wars and Marvel or Pixar or something along those lines?
No.
No.
I don't want
No.
anything mixed with Star Wars.
Really?
Star Wars is holy.
Holy?
I'm not gonna say it's holy, but I just
It
don't
is
want.
holy. Don't fuck with it.
What would you like to see Clone Wars made into a movie helmed
I'm
by
sorry,
Pixar?
Darth Vader versus Thanos isn't high on my wish list.
Oh, I'd pay for that.
You'd
I'd
be
check
an
it
idiot.
out. I'd check it out. All right. Emperor, the early years in Pixar? All right. Well, let's close up with what does this news mean to each of you personally? Because we're all Lucas fans in one way or another. Scott?
I gotta agree with Justin. I'm kind of reserving judgment to see what they do because it makes me excited yet nervous at the same time. When I first heard about it, I was like, well, at least it's out of Lucas's hands, because
Good call.
but is Disney going to do what I want to do? And I don't know. I'm hopeful, but I'm worried at the same time.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm happy in general. I think, like I said, I kind of go back to the creative minds aspect of Disney. Really kind of touch on what Justin said earlier as far as Lucas just kind of maybe being even a little bit out of touch with it, maybe. So, like Disney has got a good track record of bringing these things back to life. So I'm all for it. I'm just leery about the oversaturation once the ball starts rolling. They start creating product as far as I watch a lot of sports on ABC and ESPN, and that scares me that every time I turn it on, there's going to be some cross promotion thing popping up, and it just, that kind of bugs the heck out of me.
I got you. I personally am more partial to Indiana Jones than I am Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but I didn't like the prequels except for the third movie, so I really don't care which way they go. Hate me if you want, I guess, but Indiana Jones, I want them to just leave it alone. I don't want them to reboot it. I realize they probably will because there's too much money involved, and it's a cash cow. So I hope whatever they do, they treat it with respect because they will do something with Indiana Jones as well. And in Star Wars, Boba Fett movie, you make a Boba Fett movie, I'd be excited. Outside of that, I'm not pumped up for any of it, but I do think Disney will fix what Lucas has lost his way with. Justin?
I've been waiting a long time for Lucas to hand over the reins. I was afraid we'd have to wait until his death before that happened, but luckily it seems we're getting it a little bit sooner unless he knows something we don't. And personally, I can't think of a company better suited to handling a franchise of this magnitude. Oh God, I just did an Akbar. Magnitude? I think Disney has a long history of dealing with mega franchises. With their handling of Marvel and the deftness of that, I've got all the confidence in the world that they can handle it really well. Will they do it? My hopes are up.
Okay. Well, if you guys have any thoughts on that, be sure to email us at feedback@thehollywoodoutsider.com. Let's go into emails to close it up. First,
real quick.
Oh.
Theme parks. Star Wars theme parks.
Brilliant.
It's going to happen. You
Oh
just
know
God. My nipple just got hard again. Oh. The whole theme park is shit.
And they could put movie memorabilia all over the place like they do at Universal Studios.
Yeah. Ewoks running around everywhere. Jawas attacking.
The monorail just drives straight through the big hole in the big opening in the Death Star.
Turn the Epcot Center into the Death Star.
Oh, that's genius. I would go. I want to go to Disney every year now.
Oh, I would so go.
I would move.
I would move in.
Okay. First email is from Kristen D. This week's Halloween pick is Scream. You got it, which we mentioned, yeah. I love this movie. It has a perfect combination of comedy and suspense, traditional horror cliches, and a modern twist. Nice pick, Aaron. You are welcome, because I am Aaron. I also loved your spoiler cast in the Paranormal Activity series. I haven't seen all 4 films. Well, spoiler alert if you listen to it. But I really enjoyed listening to you 4 dissect each movie in the series as a whole. More spoiler cast, please. We are working on it. We're going to have the Bond one. We're going to try to do once a month if we can. Thanks, as always, for what y'all do. Love every minute of it. Kristen D. Brian?
All right. This one's from Jess. She says, Scream! Stews, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Must be the most comically inappropriate statement about brutally terrorizing and killing a whole bunch of people ever made. Nice clip choice.
Again, you're welcome.
Yeah. Easy. Check that ego a little bit. She asked, are you guys planning to do a spoiler cast about Cloud Atlas? I saw it this weekend and I can't stop thinking about it. Would love to hear your thoughts. Awesome podcast as always, Jess.
I think you heard enough of McCumber's thoughts in general.
No, we could do another.
We'll just tell you what. Why don't we just hit the record button and walk away, and then just let Justin ramble.
It'll be his own spoiler cast. And then Scott.
Holy shit, Scotty! If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Holy shit, Scotty. As soon as the childhood scary movie subject came up, I immediately thought that if I were in that conversation, my contribution would definitely be Return to Oz. Booyah, bitches.
Yeah, you found the one other guy on the planet that saw that movie.
It scared the piss out of me from beginning to end, and my brother always made fun of me for it. I had nightmares from the wheelies and that queen trading her heads. I was so pleased that I was not the only person scarred for life by this movie. I still have never watched it, although I know now it must be just stupid and terrible. The other image I will never forget for the first time is at the end of Psycho, when the camera sticks on her decayed face and the light bulb is swinging back and forth, creating those creepy shadows. I was about 12 at the time and already a huge Hitchcock fan, but I wasn't prepared for that moment. I obviously love it now that I'm older, but damn, it screwed me up as a kid. Thanks for the awesome show, dudes. I haven't written in before, but I am a faithful listener and really love laughing along with you guys every week. Keep up the good work. Jeff in New York.
He's a huge Hitchcock fan. He's automatically awesome. You're awesome, Jeff. And congratulations on being the second guy that's seen Return to Oz. Good job. Justin.
All right, we got an email from Jessica W. She says, hey, hoes. Hey, Jessica, what's up? Though I have recently been quiet on the hoe front, I am still religiously listening. I've been meaning to email you guys for quite some time back when you guys did the episode on women in the movie business. All in all, I agree with you guys on just about every point you made. Women are certainly on the uprise in movies. Though we're not quite equal, so to speak, it does seem that it's certainly becoming more and more balanced. However, equality for the sake of equality is very obnoxious. I still have no idea why Rihanna's role was in Battleship other than having Rihanna in the movie. I especially agree with Justin's point, as you should, on women embracing their sexuality and the genuine power that comes with that. Not enough women take advantage of what they have and put it to work. I have no idea why. Me neither. Having said all that, I am an aspiring screenwriter and director on the verge of graduating from film school. I'm currently in pre-production for my thesis short film, which I wrote and will be directing, called Feeling Good. It's based on a young woman who was once a professional dancer who turns to exotic dancing to hunt down and get closer to her sister's rapist and killer. Yes, it's a revenge drama / thriller about a killer stripper. I'd be happy to share the script with any of you guys if you're interested in reading it. However, it's much more than just that. Here's a link to the Facebook page I made with with more information, and we'll put that in the show notes. Sorry. As this is a movie podcast, and you all know how filmmaking is not cheap, I'm doing everything I can to raise the money to make this whole thing happen. I'm at a budget of around $6,000 to $7,000 with my personal savings and the donations I've gotten this far. I still have a ways to go. We begin shooting on November 2nd, and the bills are already piling up. From one cinephile to a few others, I need help. I have a fundraiser account with a program connected with Facebook and PayPal called Fundraiser with a R-A-Z-R. Here's the link, and of course we'll put this in the show notes as well. Even though the show is technically my student thesis film, I will also be submitting it to as many film festivals as humanly and financially possible. Hopefully this will help us gain even more momentum for both this short, and even more so in gaining recognition and growth for everyone involved with this project and my career as a filmmaker. Whether you guys are willing to mention this on the air, share it on your own various social networking systems, or simply offer your own support, I will be eternally grateful. Even if you guys shamelessly shut me down and crush my dreams, I will still be your faithful hoe in Hollywood, Jessica W. Jessica, I'll be more than happy to kick in a little on your fundraiser. Kickstarter programs and things like that really do seem to be on the rise, empowering artists of all natures to try and achieve their dreams without having to become a corporate shill. So we will put that link in. I encourage everyone to go to that Facebook page, take a look at it, go to the fundraiser page. And if you've got a few shekels kicking around, please help her achieve this dream. I would be more than happy to do so. And, you know, we all love movies, and we want to help our listeners as much as we can.
Absolutely. I'll kick in as well. So I hope some of our listeners are listening and you want to fund this dream project of hers, and maybe we can help more quality filmmakers. And who doesn't want to see a killer stripper?
Fuck
yes.
I'm interested.
My hands raised.
I'm in. Scotty heard stripper and he was sold. He didn't even care what the plot was. Make sure you stay through the credits for outtakes. TheHollywoodOutsider.com is the website. That's TheHollywoodOutsider.com. Find us on Facebook.com/TheHollywoodOutsider. You can email us at feedback@TheHollywoodOutsider.com. Tell your friends, man. Subscribe on iTunes, Zoom, Google Reader. Listen on your Stitcher radio app. Or give us a thumbs up. And give us a thumbs up if you do. Sometimes I forget what I'm saying. Or any plain old RSS feed. As well as Rockford College Radio every Thursday from 4 to 6. You can find an interview with me at Destination Asphyxiation. That's a weekly podcast where he does interviews. Tom does interviews. I was on there talking about myself, some behind-the-scenes stuff about the show, and movies. So if you want to hear more about that, because I am pretty exciting outside of this webcast. So check that out. That's Destination Asphyxiation. Hey, we're always plugging you bitches. It's about time something I do, you know. Brian Williams, thanks for being here, buddy.
My pleasure, man. Enjoyed it.
It was great. Justin McCumber, host of the Robot Society and author of Haywire, which needs one more review on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody get on there and do that for him.
Got my 50.
Oh, did you get your 50?
Oh, yeah.
Well, congratulations. We won't have Justin McCumber much longer because he's about to hit the big leagues.
Yeah.
Scott Clark, thanks for being here, buddy.
Not a problem, man.
Next week, we will be reviewing Man with the Iron Fist and Wreck-It Ralph. We'll have a new From the Outside In topic and more on the next Hollywood Outsider. So from all four of us, the next time you guys go to a theater, buy popcorn. I would say just mention it. Because honestly, the only reason I put it on there is because we got some tweets about it. Because I didn't put it on because we said like months ago we wouldn't talk about it again until it actually started filming.
Okay. I'll just say it, not ask any questions, and then go right
But because people had asked about it, I think we should at least, so we don't feel like
mention that we're not going to mention it again.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a democratic dictatorship. I understand that, and I'm fine with that.
There's two things that we don't cut from this show. Kurt Russell
and Dennis
Quaid.
Beans and rice didn't miss her.
Can't lie. Brothers can't deny. The girl walks in with an itty bitty wasted brown thing in your face.
You're getting sprung. What's going on?
You know, I hate to see you go, but love to watch you leave.
What movie is that from?
Face
Yeah,
Off.
look at that. Scotty got a trivia.
Give him a treat. Give him a Scooby snack.
Good boy. Good boy.
I gave myself to Jesus, and the sucker never called me back.
Well, I guess I'm canceling my plans with Betsy.
Who went college? Who named a kid Betsy?
What, the 40s now?
Hope she has her hoop
Get
skirt.
my friend Jughead?
This is the Hollywood Outsider. What the fuck was that one? God.
What, you didn't like that this? That this just didn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
Shortest fuck up in history. All right, let's go.
All right.